Hi, welcome to Conflict Story, where we bring you the best and most fascinating stories just for you. Let's dive right into one of those stories. It begins like this.
The first thing I saw was the drone. It hung over my gravel like a fat mosquito, camera blinking red. Then came the orange vests, 4 of them, boots on my steps. The woman in front moved like she owned the place. Blonde bob, clipboard, bright smile that didn't reach her eyes. "Good morning, Mr. Brooks. From today, this path to the lake is an emergency exit." She snapped a ribbon across my stairs like she was cutting a cake. "Homeowner Association decision, safety first." I had a boat motor in my hands, heavy, grease on my fingers. "Take that ribbon down," I said. My voice sounded like a tire rolling over gravel. "This is my yard." She didn't blink. "I'm Karen. This is for everyone's safety. We'll install posts and a gate. You'll hardly notice. Step aside, please." Her guys started dropping metal posts, drilling holes in my dirt. The drone dipped lower. I could see the comments on someone's phone, thumbs up and clapping hands. I stood there holding that motor, and my bad knee started to whisper. Funny thing, one word can drag you into a fire. Emergency. I've heard that word the wrong way before. Once I didn't move fast enough. Smoke, sirens. A phone call I still hear in my sleep. "Don't touch my rail," I said. "Last warning." "Sir," a thick man in an orange vest said, "if you interfere, that's a crime. This is emergency infrastructure." He said it slow, like I was a child. "Emergency," I repeated. "Right." I set the motor down. Carefully. If I swung, I'd ruin my life in 10 seconds. "Film your show," I said. "But you'll clean up your mess." Have you ever watched strangers draw lines on your life like it was theirs? What would you do? Push back or wait? Let me back up. Name's Liam Brooks, 58. I build things, houses, decks, the kind of stairs that don't squeak at night. My knees hate me when it rains. I moved to this small lakeside street for quiet. Coffee at dawn, one old rowboat. A simple wooden path to the water I sanded myself. I like the sound of oars. I like things that behave. Karen doesn't behave. By noon she had a gate in my steps with a shiny little latch. "Evacuation gate," the sign said. The drone buzzed and spun. Kids in matching t-shirts ran down my path like it was a field day. A guy from the lakefront business, sleek mirrored sunglasses, handed out flyers with training sessions and sign up now. "Is this a sales pitch?" I asked. "It's awareness," he said. "We care." "About my grass, I'm sure." He smiled and looked at the drone. Here's what happened next. They didn't stop with a sign. Saturday morning, they did a full drill. Siren from a portable speaker. Whistles. The instructor, same sunglasses, took a wrench to my handrail. "We're widening the path," he said. "It's a bottleneck." "That rail keeps me from falling," I said. "Adults can step over it," he said. Cameras pointed. I could feel my own face heating. Move, and I'm the angry old guy on a viral clip. Don't move, and I lose a piece of my home. You ever freeze because the only choices are bad or worse? After the noise died down, I walked the grass. I found little plastic chips near the gate. Blue. Each had a tiny square pattern on it. I held my phone over one. It opened a page with bright colors. Clear Wake training route. Prices, photos, a smiling family in life vests, a map that started at my steps. Not safety, sales. Here's the twist. The blonde from the association, Karen, wasn't just doing community service. She had a buddy across the water, a marina with a neat dock and a big sign. They ran evacuations that looked a lot like paid classes. You know that feeling when the trick becomes obvious, like a magic show where you see the string? "Karen," I said later, when she came back with more zip ties, "you set up a funnel on my lawn." She laughed. "Mr. Brooks, the only funnel here is common sense." Who pays for that drone? I asked. She set the tie, tugged it tight. Volunteers, donations. The orange-vested guy, name tag said Joe, kept his eyes down. Good arms, big hands, not a bad man, just on a leash. That night I sat on the lower step in the dark. It smelled like wet wood and cut grass. A porch light from 2 houses down painted my gate pale. I took off my cap and let the sweat cool. You want the truth? I felt small, like my house had shrunk around me by 2 inches. My neighbor Sam walked up slow with a paper bag, old army cap, garden dirt on his knees. He handed me tomatoes. Heard the ruckus, he said. He looked at the gate. Safety's good, he added, careful. Is safety's honest, I said. This isn't. He sat. We didn't talk for a while. Crickets filled the space. You don't have to like them, he finally said, but don't let them turn you mean. I laughed once, short. You know me, Sam. I get mean in my head, then I build a shelf. Have you ever felt your home get taken an inch at a time? Did you swallow it or spit it out? Next morning, I noticed something small, a little code stamped on the metal post of the gate, letters and numbers. I snapped a photo. I typed it into a search bar. It pulled up a dead page and a breadcrumb, a name of a broker. They handle safety plans for groups like ours. That told me 2 things. There's a paper trail, and people get discounts when they have plans. You won't believe what I did next. I played dumb. I signed up for a training session at the Marina, smiled, nodded, asked about life vests and whistles. Do you coordinate with the association? I asked. We're partners, the woman at the desk said. Sharp eyes, nice watch. We help them help you. Do you mark routes? I said. We have standard routes, she said. We can show you the best way out during an emergency. From my yard, I said, still smiling. From any safe access point, she said, and changed the subject. Let me be clear for folks listening. I didn't run to a lawyer. I didn't write a long complaint. I'm not a paper guy. I like tools. So I used one. I put a small sensor inside my own gate post. Legal, on my side. It did one job. Note when the gate moved. Nothing fancy. If their exit was real, it would open during drills. If it was a prop, it would sit shut. Now the day they picked for the big show, I stood on my porch with coffee and watched the street fill. Karen in her bright vest, clipboard, head high. Joe hauled cones. The drone buzzed like a hive. No press, just their people and their cameras. You ready to play hero? Sam muttered. He stood by my fence with his old cap. He'd been cold with me since the warning from the sheriff last week, when they made me stand in my own driveway and listen like a scolded kid. That scene hurt, I admit it. I looked like a fool on their stream. You ever have a moment you wish you could burn off your skin and step out fresh? But here's what they didn't know. My phone showed me a chart, hours and days. Gate closed, gate closed, gate closed, weeks. They ran drills on paper while my gate didn't move once. At start the drill, Karen called. Time the response. Open the exit, I said loud. Sam clicked a timer app out of old habit. Joe grabbed the latch and pulled. It stuck. He yanked again. It clicked, then jammed. He looked up at Karen. She smiled tighter. Grease it, she hissed. They scrambled. The drone saw everything. I didn't say the word fake. I didn't say fraud. I said, if this were a real fire, those kids would be stuck. That's the truth. Have you ever watched confidence crack like thin ice? It starts at the eyes. Karen tried to pivot. Thank you, Liam, for pointing that out. We care deeply about... About what? I asked. I held up one of those little blue chips. I tapped my phone. The bright training page from the Marina filled the drone's feed by accident. I'd mirrored my screen into their nearby speaker display when they connected to my Wi-Fi last week for music. Big mistake on their part. The page showed a map that started at my steps. Prices. This isn't a community plan. It's a sales route. That's not what this is, Karen said, but her voice went thin. Joe stopped moving. The guy with sunglasses looked at his shoes. I'm not here to fight, I said. I'm here to be safe. So show me. When was this gate open? Because my sensor says it wasn't. I showed the simple list. Dates, times. Closed, closed, closed. I didn't wave it. I didn't shout. I just let the facts sit there like a heavy box nobody wanted to lift. Karen recovered fast. She always does. She snapped her fingers. A fresh, shiny lock came out of a bag. Joe replaced the latch. The gate swung easy. She clapped once. Fixed. See, that's how a community works. Team effort. And there it was. My stomach dropped. In one motion, she turned my proof into a thank you. I was the helpful neighbor, not the guy they'd steamrolled. The crowd relaxed. Smiles came back. The drone hummed a lullaby. You ever feel the ground slide under you? That was my slip. After the drill, people drifted off. My path looked like a trampled aisle. I took the old photo off my hallway wall, a fishing shot with my stepdad. Sun on his face. He used to say, if you build it square, it will stand by you. I stared at my gate and felt like I'd built a crooked life. Don't let it eat you, Sam said from the doorway. He didn't step in. He knows some rooms you leave alone. I put the photo back. I took a breath, then another. Okay, I said to nobody. New plan. Here's what I realized next. Fighting Loud was their stage. I needed a smaller room. No lights, no drone. I went for the weak seam. That little code on the post, it tied to a plan on paper. Paper meant someone with a desk, a checklist, a script. If that script didn't match the real world, if the exit didn't actually open, then all their neat stamps and pretty words were just a costume. I called a number. I asked dumb questions. Hi, I'm a resident. If there's a plan, does it need the exits to work? The person on the line read from a page. I listened for cracks. I heard one. Yes, sir. Regular checks are required. Regular. Checks. Required. Not shown in a photo. Not promoted in a video. Real. I won't lie. I was shaking a little. Not from fear, from anger I had to keep on a leash. You feel me? You ever have to hold your own leash? That evening, as the light went gold, I carved a small arrow from scrap wood. I painted it white. I walked to a strip of land 2 streets over, city-owned, grown over, forgotten. It touched the same lake with a gentle slope. No house, no gate. I cut back a few branches. I could see the water wink through. It was quiet there, no drone. Why? Sam asked when he found me trimming weeds. Because I'm tired of being their stage, I said. If they want a show, I'll give them a better theater, away from my living room. He studied me. He's not quick to praise. You're smarter than your temper today, he said. Some days, I said. Have you ever changed the game by moving the board? I went to bed with dirt under my nails. I slept like a man with a plan, not a grudge. Morning would bring the next clash. Not shouting, not paperwork, something else. And if you think you know what I'm going to do next, you don't. Stick with me. You'll want to hear what I asked Karen in front of her own people and why Joe didn't look me in the eye after. Drop a comment if you've ever been turned into a prop in your own yard. What would you have done different? They came back like a parade. Cones, clipboards, orange vests. The drone dropped low enough to count its scratches. Karen's smile was already on, bright and tight. I stepped out in Sam's old yellow helmet. Yeah, I know how it looked. I didn't care. The point wasn't fashion, it was memory. Morning, Liam, Karen sang. Ready to support the Grand Lake Safety Day? Ready to see your gate work, I said. My voice carried. Open it now. Joe put his hands on the latch. He pulled. It stuck. He yanked harder. The metal squealed like a bad hinge on an old truck. The crowd went quiet, then louder, then quiet again. The drone tilted for a close-up. Timer, I said to Sam without looking. He tapped his phone. Go. Karen clapped once. Grease, she said, soft. The Marina instructor jogged up with a can. He sprayed. Joe tugged. The gate jumped, then jammed crooked. I lifted my phone, calm. Day 1, I said. Gate closed. I swiped. Day 2, closed. Another swipe. Day 3 through 9, also closed. You call that ready? Sir, the instructor said, fake sweet. We had it open yesterday. Not according to this. I turned the screen to the drone like it was a mirror. Simple list, dates and times. No big words, just truth. If there was a real fire, I said, those kids would be stuck behind your photo prop. Karen's smile thinned. Thank you, Liam, for helping us find a maintenance issue, she said. That's what community is. Funny thing is, that almost worked. You could feel the crowd let out a breath, like a teacher had fixed the spelling and moved on. I felt that old slip under my feet. Here we go, I thought. Same trick, same pat on the head. But here's what she didn't know. I had one more piece. I held up a little white tag between 2 fingers. I found these by the gate, I said. They take moms who scan them to a page with prices. The map starts at my steps. Is that your idea of safety? The instructor swallowed. He tried to smile. We use standard routes for training. Training for what? I asked. Buying lessons? Renting kayaks? Because my front yard isn't your sales floor. Have you ever watched a perfect pitch lose air? It's not loud. It's a tiny sound in the throat. Karen took a breath. Let's focus. We've corrected the latch. Moving on. Wait, I said. One more thing. I pointed toward the street behind the crowd. You all keep telling me this is the only way out. It's not. There's a city strip on Haven Street. Clear slope. No houses. I cleaned it up last night. If safety is the goal, move your cones there. Today. You could feel heads turn. The drone pivoted. Joe looked at Karen. She didn't break eye contact with me. That land is complicated, she said. It's simple, I said. No gate to jam, no yard to violate, no neighbor to humiliate on camera. I stepped closer so only she and I could hear the next part. Or you can keep pretending here and hope nobody asks the broker why your exit doesn't open. Their phone number still in your folder? Her jaw moved a little, like she wanted to bite and couldn't find a place to land. She hates choices that aren't hers. I know the type. I've built decks for them. Joe, she said finally, not looking away, load the cones. The instructor blinked. We can't just... We can, she said. We're moving to Haven. It's more efficient. The crowd shuffled, confused, then relieved. People love not fighting if you give them a reason. Within 10 minutes, the parade was gone. The drone lifted and floated down the street. I stood in the quiet. My steps looked naked without the bodies. Sam exhaled next to me. Didn't think she'd budge, he said. She didn't, I said. She slid. I took off the helmet and set it on the rail. My hand left a sweat mark. Sliding works. Have you ever won without a cheer? It feels strange, like you took a heavy coat off and expected the cold, but the sun found you instead. Don't get me wrong, it wasn't over. 30 minutes later, Karen came back in a golf cart. No drone, no crowd. Just her, and a tight smile that had turned into teeth. She stopped at my steps and stared out at the water like it owed her rent. I want to be very clear, she said. If you ever interfere with association safety plans again, we will fine you. Fine me for what? I asked, calm. For pointing at a better exit? For harassing volunteers, she said. For grandstanding. Karen, I said, I stood here with proof your magic door doesn't open. I offered a better door. You know what that's called? Fixing the problem. She leaned in. You think you're clever. I think you're scared of losing the camera in my yard, I said. And you should be. Because without this yard, your little partnership looks like what it is. A business selling nerves to people who just want to feel safe. Her eyes flicked to the helmet by my hand. Cute, she said, playing firefighter. It's not pretend, I said. It's a reminder. You don't put a bow on danger. She stared another second, then spun the cart and left. Gravel spat from the tires. No goodbye, no thank you. Just the hum of someone who'd lost a corner and didn't know it yet. Here's what happened that afternoon. I walked to Haven Street with a rake and a trash bag. I trimmed branches and cleared bottles. A dad with a stroller stopped. "You opening this up?" he asked. "Just making it easy to breathe," I said. He smiled and helped move a log. We didn't need a meeting. We needed hands. An hour later, the association's banner hung there like it had always wanted that spot. Cones lined up like little soldiers. The instructor from the Marina stood at the top of the slope, out of breath, trying to look in charge. Karen gave a short speech about efficiency and access. She never said my name. Good, I didn't want it in her mouth. Sam bumped my shoulder. "You gonna watch?" he asked. "I'm going to sit," I said. We walked back to my steps and did exactly that. The lake made that slow breathing sound it does when the wind is lazy. I put the yellow helmet on the rail again. It looked like a lighthouse in a joke, which is to say, it worked. Now, I'd love to tell you that was the end. It wasn't. The next morning, 2 association board members knocked on my door with a letter. Fines, 3 of them. Obstruction, disruption, and defamation. Big words for small people. I read the letter once, then again. "Gentlemen," I said, "you want to take this to a room with someone in a suit? Go ahead. But here's what you'll have to bring. A working exit on the dates you claimed, and a reason you used my yard as your training map when a public path sat empty down the street. Bring your logs, I'll bring mine. We'll let simple dates and simple doors talk." They looked at each other. One cleared his throat. "We can revisit," he said. The other pocketed the letter. "Maybe this was premature." "Maybe it was," I said. "Maybe you should revisit your habit of pointing cameras at people's houses and calling it love." They left. No fine, no apology. That's okay. I didn't need one from them. Later, Joe showed up alone. No vest, just jeans and a tired face. He stopped at the bottom step and scratched his neck. "Gate's coming out tomorrow," he said. "Good," I said. He shifted. "For what it's worth, it wasn't my idea to call the deputy. I don't like that stuff." "I know," I said. "You looked at your boots when you said crime the first day." He half smiled. Karen likes a show." "Then stop giving her a stage," I said. He nodded once and walked off, big shoulders smaller than before. Here's the last thing I did. I rehung my handrails. I sanded the bite marks their wrenches left. I oiled the wood. I screwed the old number plate back into the post where the gate had scarred it. Then I made a small sign from scrap cedar and burned a word into it with a cheap pen torch. Edge. I hung it where I could see it from the kitchen. It meant 2 things at once, and both were true. When the gate came out the next day, the post holes looked like empty sockets. I filled them with dirt and set 2 tomato plants from Sam's garden right there. Stupid? Maybe. Felt right. Green where the metal was. Life where the show had been. And because I know you're wondering, no, I didn't send anything to the press. I didn't upload the sensor logs. I didn't blast the broker. I held it all in a neat folder because sometimes the win isn't a headline. It's a quiet agreement that costs the other side more to break than to keep. Have you ever chosen not to swing when you finally had the punch? It's a grown man move. It tastes odd, like coffee you didn't think you'd like, but it warms you anyway. A week later, I walked down Haven Street. The new path was clean. Kids laughed. A mom carried a cooler. The instructor from the Marina stood off to the side, more polite now. He nodded at me. I nodded back. We don't have to be friends to stop being enemies. When I got home, the lake was glass again. I set my coffee on the rail next to the yellow helmet. I touched the brim. "You did your job," I said. "So did I." Sam sat on the step below, chewing something from his garden. "You're quieter," he said. "I'm done yelling in my head," I said. He pointed at the cedar sign. "Edge?" "Between safe and sold," I said. "Between loud and right." He grunted, approval in his language. Funny thing is, the doc didn't feel different, but I did. I didn't win a trophy. I didn't get a speech. What I got was mine back and a better path for everyone else. That's enough. If you've ever had your place turned into a prop, I hope you hear me now. You don't always need a bigger crowd. Sometimes you need a smaller lever. You find the seam, you press. You keep your temper on a leash and let the other side trip on their own show. Drop a comment if you've ever had to outthink a bully instead of out-yell them. And tell me this, when the gate jammed the first time, did you feel that too? That little click in your chest that said, "Now," because that was the moment it turned, not the helmet, not the speech, a stuck latch and a plan that didn't fit the real world. That's where I live now, in the real, my path, my rules, and the lake breathing steady like it always has.